We're getting really close to dove and teal season opening up, and I'm super excited. So today I'm going to go over some of the basics that you need to bring with you whenever you're going on a teal hunt. Now, with that being said, I'm going over the basics, so I'm not going to go super in depth with all the little doodads that you can bring with you. I want to keep it down to the plain and simple, this is what you need to go teal hunting, and then I might throw in a few recommendations here and there for things that I've learned along the way. But before we get any farther into this video, be sure to leave me a big old thumbs up. It means a lot when you guys do that. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And then when you subscribe, hit the notification bell so then you can get a notification whenever I post a new video. And with hunting season coming up, I don't think you're going to want to miss any of them coming out. So starting off, we're going to go with something that you're going to need, and you're going to need it to teal hunt. It's a shotgun. You're going to need a 12 or a 20 gauge shotgun, whichever one you're more comfortable shooting or whichever one you have. I know there's a lot of people that watch these videos that they're just getting into hunting and they don't know exactly what to bring. So 12 or a 20 gauge will do just fine for teal hunting. And this is my Winchester SX4. It's a semi-automatic, and you can bring a pump, over, under, semi-automatic. It doesn't really matter, even a single shot if that's all you have. But plain and simple, you just need a shotgun and you should be good. Additionally, I do recommend a sling because things can get pretty crazy in the marsh. You know, you're out picking up birds and then more fly by. So it's always nice to have a sling so you can keep your boomstick next to you for the next flight of birds that comes through. Okay, so now let's dive into some decoys. I've always said that you can bring your regular old mallard decoys. Now, I do recommend, you know, if you want more of a lifelike spread, go with your hen decoys. If you've got 3 dozen decoys, you should have at least a dozen hen decoys, and that should do you just fine for teal season. Even mix a few drakes in there just to get some bodies out in the water. Teal, they're not super weary. They don't really look at a whole lot of detail. They just kind of buzz past you or they just plop right down. So having bodies on the water is the really important thing. You can use your mallard decoys, but you can also invest in some teal decoys. So I've got 2 different kinds of teal decoys here on this table. These are my new decoys for the season. These are blue wing teal decoys. I got these on sale at the end of the season last year for 20 bucks for the dozen. And you would notice that the drakes are fully colored out, they're plumed, but for teal season it really doesn't matter. If you really want to nitpick it, you can just only run the hen decoys, because what happens is during early teal season your drakes, they're not plumed out. They look exactly like the hens. They're in the eclipse stage of their cycle, so they're not going to look like this, they're going to look like this. But like I said, just get some bodies on the water, don't nitpick every single detail, and you should be fine. Just get some decoys on the water. That's all you really need. But as for rigs, I do recommend these Lifetime decoy rigs. I love them to death. I use them all the time. These are the 48-inch 4-ounce weights. They usually do me well in pretty much everywhere that I hunt. So I like them because they got the big carabiner, they're PVC coated cable, and they don't get line memory, and they're easy to pick up. Now on the flip side of the coin, on these old decoys that I've got my old rigs on them still. And that's because I only really use these during teal season, and I just haven't bothered getting new rigs for them. So these are my green wing teal decoys. These are cheapy Flambos. Got these on sale at Walmart for like $6 a dozen at the end of the season, like 4 years ago. They've seen a lot of use and abuse. The paint is totally like coming off of them, which not a big deal to me. Here's what the hens look like if you're somewhat interested. They still look all right for 4 seasons of use. But when it comes down to decoys, all you need to know is to have bodies on the water. It doesn't matter if it's a mallard decoy or if it's a teal decoy. It really doesn't matter. Use whatever decoys you have and throw them out there, and the teal will usually just kind of buzz right past you most of the time. Sometimes you'll get lucky and they'll actually cup in and work the decoys and land. Just from my own personal experience, I've never noticed a difference between having mallard decoys and teal decoys. You know, I usually just kind of mix them up in there, make them look like a group of ducks, and hope for the best. I also forgot the most important thing, and that's your hunting license and all your stamps. So be sure to double check all of the stuff you have and also get the stuff that's current for this year before you go out hunting. Now, over here, I've got my Rogers double spinning wing bag. So I've used this for a year now, and I really do dig it. I like it a lot because it's got these little slots on the sides for your poles. They're on both sides. It's got 2 pockets on the sides here for whatever you want to throw in there. And then it's also got this big compartment that holds 2 spinners. So we're gonna go ahead and unbox this. because I've got a lot of stuff in here, and it's a lot more than just decoys, because you know, you put your 2 spinners in there and you got a bunch of room for other stuff. And it's nice to just kind of have a backpack where you can just put it all in there and not have to carry another bag or do any of that. So that's kind of what I learned last year when I was using this bag. It holds a lot more than 2 spinners. So first of all, you're going to want to break this out the second you get to the marsh. This is your Thermacell, or you can put on bug spray. The mosquitoes are going to be super thick during teal season because it's warm and they're still out and about, and you spend about 4 hours in the morning sitting in the marsh waiting for the sun to come up, and you're just smacking skeeters all morning. So bring a Thermacell or bug spray. I highly recommend it. Additionally, you're going to need some shells. These are 3-inch 4-shot. They'll do you just fine during teal season, but you can also use 6-shot. I've used both of them. I haven't really been able to tell a huge difference between the two of them, but 4s will cover you for teal season and big duck season. So if you know you're going to buy 4 boxes for teal season, you're probably going to have some left over, go ahead and get some 4s because they're going to cover your teal, but then you'll also be able to use them during big duck season. So when it comes down to choke tubes, I use a modified or a mid-range choke, and so I actually just picked up this choke tube the other day. I haven't shot it yet. I haven't had a chance to pattern it. I'm really excited to pattern it because this is the Carlson Black Cloud choke tube. Because when I was doing my pattern test video with all these federal loads that I had, a few people were saying that the choke that I had in my gun wasn't meant for these Black Cloud shells because the ported choke tubes or something with that, and the wad in these shells, they don't mix well, and sometimes the wads can get stuck in the barrel or in the choke. So I decided to go ahead and get one of these Black Cloud choke tubes because they're made for Black Cloud shells. So we'll have to see how that goes, but I do recommend a mid-range choke. If you're one of those people who shoots a full choke all the time, more power to you, but earlier in the season it might be a better idea to open up your choke a little bit more because your shooting is probably not as good as it is later in the season when you're shooting a full choke. I also get a lot of questions about the choke tubes that I use. Almost all the time except for turkey season, I'm shooting a mid-range or a modified choke. So that's just my 2 cents. You'll also want to get a game tote because that's going to hold your ducks when you're done, and hopefully it's full of 6 of them when you get done hunting. So that's always nice because I actually hunted one time last year. We shot like a 2-man limit of greenheads and we didn't have any game straps. So that was kind of a pain in the butt having to hold them all walking out. Do yourself a favor, get one of these if you don't have one. They're like 10 bucks and they are a game changer, especially if you're just carrying them out in your hands. You're also going to need a headlamp because you're going to probably go out in the morning before the sun comes up to get set up. So find a headlamp you like and make sure to bring extra batteries for it because sometimes you don't check your batteries or you don't bring extra batteries and your headlamp dies, and that's really not a lot of fun when you're out hunting. We've also got some teal calls in here. This is my blue wing teal call, and this is just a whistle call. So I generally use the blue wing call the most in teal season. I really don't ever touch this until big duck season. So I've used it for teal season, but once I got this, I really only use this. So I'd recommend making the investment to get a blue wing teal call if you're gonna be doing some teal hunting. But also keep in mind, when you're teal hunting, it's really your spot and the decoys that do a lot of the work. The calling is just to kind of catch their attention, to have them look at you. You don't need a call when you're teal hunting. And you could also use a mallard call if you really want to and you don't want to spend the money on this. Just go ahead and use your mallard call and see how that does. Also, fun fact, if you didn't know, mallards are the most abundant duck in North America. So using your mallard decoys or your mallard call or your mallard spinners, it's going to do just as good as any of these other decoys because they're the most abundant duck and most ducks are used to seeing mallards and being with mallards. And so with that being said, I've got my 2 spinners in here. These are my lucky ducks. I got these in a 2-pack from Rogers. So these have lasted me a season. This one did take a swim last year, and all I did was buy another one of these modules. It was like 25 bucks. Slapped it in, rewired it, and it works just fine now. So if that happens to you, go ahead and just go on the website and then order a module, and you should have a working spinner once again. Spinners are key for teal hunting. Teal are they're like spinner addicts. So with that being said, if you guys have any dove mojos from dove season, you can use these in your teal spread as well. I know it seems a little silly. It's like, I feel like sometimes it's hard for people to grasp the concept of using a dove decoy in a teal spread, but if you really stop to think about it, all they're seeing is the flickering of the wings. They're not going to look at the decoy this close. If they're looking at the decoy this close, you better shoot the dang thing. So all they're looking for is the flash. So if you got some of these, go ahead and bring them. The more the merrier when it comes to spinners. You can also invest in a teal mojo if you want to. They are a little bit more expensive than the dove mojos, but it's up to you. The wings on the teal and the dove are exactly the same size. So it's just a matter of what you want your decoy to look like. So use your best judgment. So, I mean, I got this teal decoy in my Hunter's Haul box. I didn't buy it, so that's why I have that. I do have like 3 of these dove mojos, and I've got my 2 spinners. So I've got tons of spinners. That's what you need when you're teal hunting. You will just, they're gonna just suck right in there if you got the spinners going. So I recommend bringing whatever spinners you've got and throwing them into your spread. So that is all of the necessities for when you go teal hunting. Now you can bring a bunch of other stuff with you if you really want to, but it's really basic. Just bring your decoys, use whatever you got. If you got teal decoys, bring them. If you've only got mallard decoys, just use your mallard decoys. You can use as many spinners and whatever kind of spinners you want. It really won't make that big of a difference. When it comes to calling, you can use your blue wing teal call, but you can also use your mallard call, or you could just not call at all. I've done both, and you know, I've never really noticed a huge difference, but when I use the blue wing teal call, I feel like it made a tad little bit of difference when it comes to getting the birds to come over to the spread. But most of the work is going to be done with these guys right here. 4s and 6s will do you just fine for your shells. I recommend a modified choke, and don't forget to bring a thermocell or bug spray and a headlamp. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave me a big old thumbs up. It means a lot when you guys do that. You guys can also follow me on my social media. I've got a Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook. So be sure to follow me on there and stay up to date with what's going on. But that's all I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will catch you guys on the next one.